Republican presidential candidate Christie had harsh words for former President Trump on Tuesday, calling him out for reportedly pointing donations toward a fund Trump's used for paying legal fees. Trump is the cheapest SOB I've ever met in my life, the former New Jersey governor said of the former president in a Politico interview. What Donald Trump is good at is spending other people's money, he added. Trump's Save America PAC spent at least $3 million on its funds, paying Trump's lawyers, and is paying for the lawyers for some witnesses. In the classified documents case, multiple news outlets reported last year, the hired legal firm reportedly donated more than $120,000 to the PAC, according to the Washington Post. Christie, in a Politico interview, called the reported diversion of funds to Save America instead of a traditional campaign account deceptive, but in character for the former president. This is a billionaire who refuses to pay his lawyers with his own personal money. And instead, men and women out there who believe in him and wanted him to be elected president are donating money to try to forward his candidacy, and he's diverting that money to pay his own legal fees, Christie said. He should take a pledge today to instruct his campaign to no longer spend any public money on his legal fees, Christie added. He is the richest candidate in this race, yet he is using public money to pay his legal fees. He should be ashamed of himself. The former New Jersey governor is ramping up his attacks on Trump, a one-time ally, during the 2020 campaign. Christie is one of the staunchest critics of Trump in the PAC GOP primary field, hoping to find a path to the nomination as the anti-Trump candidate. Christie and Trump have traded personal insults in recent days, with Trump calling Christie overweight and Christie lashing back, and Christie criticizing Trump earlier this month for the federal indictment the former president faces of 37 charges related to mishandling classified information. Christie joined the race for the 2024 GOP presidential nomination in early June, a late start in a field that is already a dozen strong, and is focusing campaign efforts in the early primary state of New Hampshire. He has found limited success, with recent polls out of New Hampshire placing him third, behind Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. A New Hampshire Journal poll this month gave Christie 9% support, trailing Trump's 47% and DeSantis' 13%. I really wish that instead of talking about how rich Trump is, or apparently is, because a lot of us have said before that we don't believe he's as wealthy as he makes himself out to be, that instead of doing that, Christie would instead redirect his efforts of critique to mentioning the fraudulent system of money in politics, you know, overturning Citizens United, and this idea that enough money donated by corporations equates to free speech. And really, I think if he had focused more on something like that and just talked about how you have these politicians who are able to practice deceptive activities. I mean, we can give the example of how I've donated to a couple of progressive Democrats, you know, same 4, 5, 6 people every now and again. And then somehow I end up on the getting mail and emails from politicians who I've never had anything to do with, likely because the people I donated to gave my information to the mailing list of some other candidate that they're aligning themselves with. The point I'm making is I really think if he had focused his remarks on money in politics instead of, oh, Trump is the richest one, I think he would sound a lot more distinct and have a lot more credibility, at least among people who aren't prone to supporting a conservative. They could say, hey, this is somewhere that he stands out. Going to the other part of this, about the Save America PAC, I really do question how legal that is, because I'm predicting that if they ever did find some kind of like way to get Trump over the donations going to his legal funds for his lawyers or whatever, they probably could say, oh, well, this is tied to his presidential campaign because they're trying to get him in the midst of a campaign. They might be able to find some weaselly language to get themselves out of that controversy. And I try almost never to talk about the way that these people look, because I don't like it when it's done to me. But for Trump to call Christie overweight, and knowing the things that we know about his own health, I just think is really ironic. Like I said, I don't like talking about the way these people look ever. But I just thought that was the irony of ironies. He's not exactly considered a very slim person himself. And the last part of this is that they say that Christie is focusing on New Hampshire. He's going to bet it all on this one state, right? He has 9% and is in third, not even second place, third place to DeSantis at 13, who he does have a decent chance of overtaking. I'll admit that. And Trump at 47. Now, for those that don't remember, Trump lost Iowa in 2016 to Cruz, and then won New Hampshire, and then from that point onward, it really started turning into a bloodbath for the other candidates. So New Hampshire played a very important role in Trump's original presidential victory. And I don't think Christie is smart. Like, first of all, I think if he were serious about actually trying to win or make an impact, as in winning multiple states, he would have gotten in a lot earlier. But we'll see. I really hope he's able to at least make it to the debate stage and critique Trump or go after him in ways that the other candidates are too scared to. Because I have given him credit where he has stood out in some cases, but I just think he needs to have a bigger lane for himself and make some distinctions in his rhetoric and proposals, and I don't think he's doing that yet.